Um, what it is, it pertains to my real sad experience last Sunday morning, where I discussed it on the show last Sunday evening. And well, what happened during my real sad experience? I went up into the universe and took the position. I was the position of the sun, and I sent out the new you sound wave, shock wave, whatever. It looked like a shock wave when it was going out. Well, on the Wednesday, I was sitting down. I was doing something, and my phone pinged, and it was a notification, and it was excuse me, it was a notification of the Leak Project channel. I'm sure some of you might have heard of it or even subscribed to it. It's on YouTube. It's like a conspiracy channel and aliens and stuff. It's kind of fun. Well, it said on the basically on the notification, it read, NASA admits sun sends out shockwave shaking entire solar system. On the Wednesday, that notification, I got that, but obviously the real side experience was on the Sunday. And then I think it was either yesterday or today, I was watching another YouTube video. I think it was today actually, one of the ones that Kevin put out, and it was basically it was just it was a Skype chat. It was one of Kevin's videos. I think it was this morning or yesterday, and it was the Skype chat from the 10th of June 2019, where Charles is talking to Duane about the discrepancy between the real side experiences and physical manifestation on the physical. And I just thought that the synchronicity in all of this is unbelievable. So yeah, that was it. That was basically just what I wanted to share. I mean, that's how real this is. You know, I went up there. That was my intent. I was the sun, and I sent out the new you sound. I watched it go out. I travelled out with it, and then 3 days later, I get a notification on my YouTube channel. It said, I know NASA. You know, you don't know what to believe with them, but it's just come across that NASA admits that the sun sends out the shockwave that shaking the entire solar system. And I just thought it was fantastic. And it basically it's like proof. It's like confidence. I don't need proof anyway, you know. And I don't look for agreement. I don't want agreement because, you know, these experiences that I have, these are very real. You know, I mean, everyone who has them, they all know what they are, and it's just like it's basically it's confirmation that it does affect the physical. You know, I mean, I sent out that new you sound, and that was my intent to send it out, and that's what happened, and it manifested. I don't know how it manifested, but it shook the entire solar system. So there you go. That's all I want to share. Thank you very much, Henry and Duane. Anybody got any comments?
Mr. Pearce, if you could write that down, it would be cool, and we could share that, your experience like that. That's good. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, Duane. I'll do that. I'll put it in my book, and I'll write it down on. I'll put it in Skype tonight later after the show. All right, thank you. I just wanted to share it because I thought it was just amazing, and all the synchronicity of it, and it was just amazing how it's all just come this week. It's been like, well, I mean, I had the experience on the Sunday, and that was. I still ain't come to grips with it properly. It was mind blowing, and you know, I mean, I don't like to say mind blowing because mine's, you know, it's awareness, isn't it? But it was just, you know, it was this, you know, they are what they are, and then just the, you know, on the Wednesday I get the confirmation from the YouTube channel, and then I read it. It was either I think it was yesterday or today. What you and Duane was exactly talking about, and I just thought, well, yeah. That's it. It is there, you know. There is the link. It does come to the physical. So that's just what I want to share, Duane. Thank you very much.
Hi everybody. Hi, Duane. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, we hear you, Sajad.
Today I have something to share before Charles comes. Well. It's a weird experience for me. I was wondering in the late 3 months, and whenever I do the new you, it feels like nothing's happened. It feels like, for example, my consciousness increased, but it doesn't feel like before. it didn't feel like the day I started New Year. It didn't feel like the new month that I have started the New Year. And for over 3 or 4 months, I thought it's guide. Uh, Maybe the guides are controlling the new you to be less effective or to don't do anything so I can learn to do my things I myself. For example, so I can remove the tap line with the ways that I have learned from the real guides. But today, when I was doing the new year, and so it was the same like the uh, 3 or 4 months. It was the same. Nothing would happen. It just increased my awareness. It just increased my consciousness. For example, you feel you are above the feelings, above the everything, but nothing happens. The feelings doesn't go. The tap lines doesn't go very fast. Uh, I I don't know. It was a sudden thought. Maybe it was a intuition. Uh, I have that, and I ask myself why it is not like the beginning. So I create an intent. I intended that the new year work with the full capacity. And when I did that, and then I started the new year, uh, I see that wow, the new is working with its full power. It is cleaning me, it is charging me, it is removing the tap lines as fast as possible. And then I realized that somehow, I don't know really how, somehow I have tap lined my new you. I don't know how. And I realized this happened for my friends too. I don't know when, where, how, but after this experience, I told my friend, one of them, she's here, I told her to intend that all the tap lines be removed from the new you, and then start doing the new you and tell me if there is a difference. She did that, and she realized, wow, the seeing the new has changed totally. Now she feels more becoming calm. She feels more better, charging, well, getting rid of the entities and etc. And I was curious, how is it possible to, you know, I don't know what to call it, defining ourselves new you. Does anybody has the same experience like me?
Let's see who does, but it's with the intent. In other words, it's understandable you have to experiment a little bit, see how it works for you. It just depends upon the person, and this is where, recognizing your intent is very important with this, not just doing things. It's like we have people here that do things. We have a political system that governs things. But it's not so much about what they do, it's what their intent is with what they're doing. So, yeah, you're experimenting yourself, and this is where the intent is very, very important. And you're going to see back and forth. Now, you're probably going to have some tap lines anyhow. You're not going to get rid of all of them because uh, I see myself, I have a personal self, and that personal self has likes, dislikes, whatever. It's doing things, what have you. So as you do things and connect to people and situations, you're going to be plugging into these things, and that's not a bad thing. Okay, so you remove those things that are interfering in your life. So I'm dealing in the business world all the time with different situations, and you might say this is where we call it connecting with people, and we're all carrying certain things. When you shake somebody's hand, you don't know where their hand has been. You don't know what they ate, etc., what they're thinking. And so these things are happening on and off all the time. The reality of the new you is to, yeah, just like what you're experiencing, to become more aware. It's not a thing to where it's magical, you know, etc. It's about your awareness, and through that awareness, you decide, you know, how your consciousness is going to be. Consciousness is a created thing. People think consciousness is, well, I'm consciousness. Well, in the personal self, that's true, because you create that. You create the personal self. But it's very interesting as we go through creation, and we have imagination, mind, emotions, and all these situations. Yes, we take on things. You know, I take on the world karma and all kinds of stuff. So I've got things in me all the time. I don't really pay attention to that too much. I just do what I do, and I deal with it. Some days are better than others. Some days are a real struggle. And so again, as we go through this, for the most part, most people, because we don't understand, it's like when we were raised with our parents, we look to our parents, we look to something, etc., until we get to that point where we start to be more than just the personal self. We start to look to more than just the personal self. In other words, personal self is there. It will do whatever. It's like your car when you park it outside. You can sit there and worry about, oh, someone's going to take my car. Someone's going to take my car. Well, you can do that, but is it necessary? You see? So, and it's like the personal self. Is it necessary to just think about it all the time? Oh, how am I doing? Or am I this? Or am I that? Or what should I do? Or what do I want? Or what? See, again, the personal self. As you become more aware, you start to free yourself from that association, but yet the personal self is still there. So it's very interesting how it is, but we've been brought up to be concerned about the personal self. It's like, oh, I want spiritual experiences. I want enlightenment. I want this. I want. You see, that's the personal self until we start to recognize the real self. Well, the personal self is still going to have tap lines and stuff like that, but they're going to be not as bad as the other tap lines. We're in this world, we're breathing bad air, everything is poisoned. How do you get out of the bad air? So again, your other bodies are in creation, and all of creation is affected by things, and creation is not doing good now because we got the Kalam God and all its reptilian forces everywhere. So again, things are going to happen, good, bad, and indifferent. You're going to have all kinds of experiences. But if you just, you know, it's like people that focus on the third eye. You know, it's just that, oh, I just focus on my third eye. Well, what is that? You know, so again, in what we're doing here with the new presentation, we don't focus on the third eye because it's very limited. We already did that. And just like when Paul brought out Ekankar, you know, the thing is that, no, don't focus on the lower chakras, focus on the third eye or the crown chakra. Well, we don't do that anymore because it's very limiting. And yes, what we do affects these things, of course. And what we do with the new you affects us, ourselves, and whatever. It's automatic. But the idea here is to have an awareness that of real freedom from everything, and to recognize that. That's the biggie there, not to just think, oh, I have God realization. Okay, so what is that? That's an idea. Okay, we've chased ideas. No, this is where it's an actuality to where you can identify and recognize that reality, and with that, you decide a real purpose with the whole of life. This becomes different. And so in the meantime, yes, so if you're just concentrating on that, that's kind of like calling your friend and saying, oh, look outside. Is your car still there? No one's taken your car, have they? Is it still there? You see? Yeah, you could think that like a tap line. Your car is like a tap line because you're emotionally attached to it. You're going to have a car tap line in you, aren't you? Because again, unconsciously, you're concerned about your car in some way because you don't want anyone to take it. So you got a little tap line there. But the new you is all about your awareness. Yes, it's about your awareness. And from there, you learn to figure out what life is or you don't. That's your decision, you see. So again, for the most time, we always relate it to the personal self. Okay, what does it do for the personal self? Will I get a better job? Will I make more money? Will I have a new relationship? Well, how can I eat better food? Whatever. Okay, that's the personal self. You're going to be doing that stuff anyhow. But again, it's up to you, and that's where the intent comes in. Now, take a look at that intent. All right, so is your intent to just get rid of your tap lines? Well, that's fine, but when your intent is to stand real with the all is, like the guides do, and see how it sees, well, all those things will be taken care of anyhow, you see? You'll be beyond your chakras, and at some point, but you still have the bodies here, and at some point, when you leave the bodies behind, like when you leave your car behind, you know, when the car is gone, as an example, you know, as you sell it or you don't need it anymore, whatever, all that junk that's in the car that you had there, your bubble gum wrappers and your cups from your sodas and whatever it is, and your magazines and whatever, well, that all goes with it too, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. So, you know, see, again, we've been taught to, and this is how things are marketed, you be concerned about your personal self, you know, and yes, of course you do. I'm not saying nothing is negated, but you just see it for what it is. So what's the bigger picture for yourself? You want real freedom to stand with the whole of life because it's all about survival, or you want to struggle with the personal self and constantly be concerned about what's happening with it? You know, I'm walking through the mud and dealing with stuff all the time and being tap-lined and attacked. Well, it's like, it's part of the job. That's it. It's part of the job. It's not to where, oh, we go hide somewhere. That was the old idea. And we hide in ourselves thinking that, oh, gee, I don't want to be tap-lined. I don't want to be this or that. What we're doing here with tap-lining is making people aware of what they are agreeing to, what they are influenced by, whatever. And it's okay. I'm influenced by the influence. So what? My intent is what the is. That's all that matters. These bodies are going to come and go. See, this is where you also get locked in, even in the so-called spiritual paths, with the personal self, because it's the me, me, me thing. It's like, oh, I want self-realization. I want God realization. And I've went through this too. But I've learned to see the difference between recognizing the is and these things that are in creation that seem to be something they're not, and they've been created, or the idea is that they're absolute, like the God idea, the all-knowing, almighty God. Okay, there's nothing more. It's an absolute, but it's nothing but an idea, you see. So this becomes the adventure, and that is to figure out what the is and how to stand real with that according to your intent. So what you're experiencing is that how this intent works. Now this is different with everybody, just like Pearce's experience. All of a sudden, Zowie, he's off on this experience, doing whatever. It's different for everybody. So this is where you actually don't have to move from anywhere, but you can have these experiences. But for me, I don't have to. It's an isness. I see it. It's seeing and recognizing it. Really, that's it. Because when you're everything, where are you going? Where do you need to go? You see? So this is the best part. So I've raised myself as a surfer and a very simple person. I'm not the great intellect, etc. And so, but I use the intellect. I use the literal side to convey certain ideas, but no, that's not me. I just use that like a car. It's like, you know, I have many cars, and it's like, okay, today we're going to drive the mind car, and we're going to make up things and do a group or whatever. So I use that, but no, that's not my intent, or that's not me, because I'm here because I see the struggle that people are having. So I'm around all the time, you know, not like the gurus and masters that are sitting somewhere in their room contemplating whatever. No, it's the earth is dying. We know that. The atmosphere is imploding, and all these people here are struggling to become more aware, but they don't know how. So what I suggest to people is, yes, do the new you, have your intent with the is and that real guidance, and do something. Get beyond yourself. Forget yourself. Just share what we're doing. Share this new you, like Pearce's experience, yes. And then everybody becomes more aware. And you know what? There's a transition that can take place accordingly. But when we just focus on ourselves and we're so concerned about our tap lines and all these things, well, then that's it. That's as far as you've gone. And you've gone through your whole life being concerned about not being tap lined. But everybody's tap lined. So what? You know, you're going to go out there, you're going to go to work, you're going to get dirty, you're going to come home and take a shower. Same thing. You've been tap lined by dirt. But it's going to happen. How do you not stay dirty? Besides, again, the world is dying. These people are struggling. And when you take your attention off yourself and do something with the whole of life, well, eventually you become the whole of life, you see? And there's your real freedom. And actually, it's more than that. It's a whole lot more, and it's a whole lot better, but you got to see it. So, yes, what you're doing is fine, but I'm just giving you a comparison. There's a lot more. So the tap lines will come and go on their own. So what? You see, it's like ideas and thoughts you have. You know, as you think about something and you go into some mode, or you have an emotion, or even, you know, you love, hate, or whatever. These are tap lines too. You create little tap lines, and it just depends upon how strong you are with those things. But they're going to come and go, you know, just like dust out there when you're walking around, and you know, papers blowing in the wind. Sometimes they're going to come and they're going to stick to your body, a gum wrapper or something. You're going to get that, but then you clean it off, and it's whatever. But what's so cool about the new you and the isness is that, you know, as you stand in that, and you become more and more so. In other words, you recognize the real light. It's a recognition is what it is. You recognize this reality with your intent. Well, those things just disappear because they only exist in creation as the phenomena they are. But while you're here, you're taking on the task to present something, because this is where people are struggling. And so you're standing real with the whole of life and doing what it is, sharing itself, okay? And for people to see it. We're so fortunate that we know, because most of us have been raised with the God idea and looking to authorities, you see? And it sounds so cute, doesn't it? It sounds so nice, but it's not, because it's all captivity. And we don't have the awareness of anything else, but now we do. So it's all okay. You're fine. You know, they just see this isness, learn to constantly see it, and it's always new, every moment. It's not like, oh, I got it. No, you know, I too saw it at a certain point. I saw it, I could see it. I couldn't explain it, but I see it more and more and more. This is what's so cool about it, but you really can't explain it. It's in the seeing. Now, the experiences that we have here and on what I call the real side, this is a start. Okay, that's fine, but it's not the experience itself. It's what you might say behind the experience, the isness life is, and that is to be recognized. And this is where too many times too, the experience becomes more important than the reality life is. This is where all these little paths and teachings are created because of the experiences, which is fine. Everybody's having their experience. But it's still not that real recognition and recognize your intent with this reality. There is still a difference, because this is an endlessness. At what point can you say, oh, this is it? You can't. You can't. This is something you can't even consider, but yet it can be seen, and it's its own reality. So you learn to see it for what it is, and not what you consider or think it is. So as we're going through this, and the real side experiences, dream visions, and all this, and the tap line and whatever, these are experiences that we're having, and actually they can help you better understand. So the hardest of times, and when you even cry and when you're hurt and whatever, can be a comparison to better recognize this isness, if that is your focus. So everything in creation is fine once you understand how creation is with this isness. So there's a little explanation for you.